This episode is powered by Anivia Pickleball. Based in the heart of Vancouver, BC, whether you're new to the game or a seasoned vet, they have the paddle for you. I myself am currently using their Voltex Gen 3 Pro, which comes in both mid and lightweight. A big thank you for the team at Anivia for taking a chance on me in this podcast. And for listeners of the podcast, if you enter AGorman15 at checkout, you get 15% off. Check out Anivia.com now. That's AGORMAN 15 at checkout. On with the show. All right, welcome back, everyone. Well, we had a wild weekend in the CNPL, but first, Victor was competing at St. Albert. How'd that go, Victor?
Oh yeah, it's pretty amazing. Welcome everyone back. So yeah, I went bronze with my partner Lester Lim. Shout out to my partner. So yeah, in theory we won bronze, but I was pretty happy with our result. In our pool, we went actually 6-1. So it was a round robin to 11. It was a little bit weird because all the others went to round robin 1 to 15, but us was 1 to 11. And when it comes to the medal round, there is no semifinals. It was just strict away. Okay, 1 versus 2, 3 versus 4. Unfortunately, even though we're the third team, so the number one, number two, number three team also has 6-1 record. However, we did not have enough. We did not. Well, we scored enough point, but we gave away too much point in some.
So you got third on the point differential.
Yeah, exactly. There's some matches like our first match, we should have won 11-1. For some reason, I make too much unforced errors, so we won 11-6. And there's another match I was playing against Jeff Holmes and Gregory Bradford. Same thing. I kind of make too much unforced error. We're leading 9-4. We let them come back 9-9, and then we won 11-9. So it's kind of because of those couple of games that we can't get winded. Another game, it was against Nate and John Huck. On that, so we did play indoors, even though it was supposed to be at Alpines because it was raining like crazy on that day. So they're able to secure the indoor facility at the EPC. Well, it was great for them to let us use their facility like very short notice. So that was great. But that number 8 court that was right on the very far corner of the facility, there's not enough lighting. There's like just too much shadow over that area. And it was my fault. I wasn't not able to adjust to it. I couldn't see the ball that Nate was serving. He was serving very hard, and at the same time, I couldn't see the ball. So I have like almost like a second reaction delay. So therefore, we're just not returning any ball, and we lost 11-2 also. So that kind of makes a big difference. Was happy at that I beat Ben and David. Yes, sorry Ben, I have to mention on the pod. So yeah, they're good. Ben was rolling. His backhand flick was on point. They're mounting enough pressure to us. So they're up 8-1, and for some reason I just said, you know what? If I lose it, I'm gonna lose in style. I'll just turn on the heat. I do what I do best. I was just driving every ball at them. They're starting to back up. Here we go. That was the comeback, and we won for 14-12. And being said, because we even though we win 14-12, that was only 2-point differential, right? So that was still not enough. So we went to the bronze medal game. We play against Jeff Holm and Gregory Bradford. we got lucky for several couple of points. I got 4 net courts that was going into my favor, and then also I was turning up the heat, and they just unfortunately have no answer. So we beat them pretty handily, 15-3. On the other side, on the gold medal match, Ben and David Martin did Benjamin Lim and David Martin, they beat Nate Weatherby and John Huck in 3 games. So congrats to them. They won gold. So that was a pretty good Friday for me. I didn't play mix. I didn't play singles neither. But at least that's the last tournament of the season for me.
Well, we ended it off on a podium finish, so that's always good.
Yeah, at least think about it. I was repping for 2 months. I haven't played tournament for 2 months. So.
Yeah, exactly right.
So that was great. Quick shout out to Jacob. He won. He did the triple crown this weekend. Congrats to them. And yeah, I'll say that's the end of our summer tournament season. So everything's starting from now. It's going to go indoors.
Yeah, everything going indoors, and then majority of them are probably not going to be sanctioned, if I remember correctly. I know the center in Edmonton puts starting in October, they're going to put one on every 3rd week of the month, but most of the time those aren't sanctioned. So it's one of those ones where it's like it's good to, like, if you want to just have a fun tournament and go and test your skills against other really good players, but like it's not going to have. Well, the good thing is if you want to try bumping yourself up a level, you can go in not worrying about your rating getting crapped, right?
Exactly.
So there's a pros and cons to both. I think me and Irene might do like 1 or 2 over the winter there at those. We'll see, because I know the kids' swimming season is going to be starting up in October as well. So I'm gonna have to be.
Let me know. I'm in Edmonton. Just.
Oh no, yeah. Same thing. If Lester's not available, give me a call right away. I can switch my time off as quickly, super quick.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, absolutely. And my plan also. At the same time, even they're not sanctioned, I'll go probably help them out, do some refereeing, like at least at the medal round. So some people at least get exposure and get some sort of fairness. Sometimes they, like, when there's no ref, people do whatever they want, unfortunately. So at least if there's a ref here, there's some sort of enforcement and fair play.
Yeah, exactly. Like at least for the bare minimum medal rounds, and even if depending on if it's round robin or brackets, like at least like even semis type of thing, right? Is where you kind of want them thick in. It's round robin, it's not as big of a deal. Like it happens once in a while where someone gets a little iffy with their line calls, but then it once the stakes start to go up in like crossovers and semis and stuff and finals, that's where you see a little bit more hinky with the line calling if there's no ref. So
definitely. Well, there's the PPA recap like I could have done, but there's not big news except the Kwang Duong and Ao Shan duo beat the Johns brothers. If you saw the match, that was quite interesting. Like how I can say, after you saw that match, it's like, okay, defensive pickleball is dead.
Yeah,
basically. Third shot drop is dead. Everything is a drive. Like if you look at Kwang Duong, even in transition zone, everything is a drive. Everything.
Well, yeah, and if you have the quick feet and reaction time, even if they punch it back at you to put it back over, then it's not really a bad shot anymore, right? So
exactly. Well, to be honest with you, Kwang Duong and Christian Yaoshan is playing together at the MLP, right? They're on the Texas Rangers team, right? So they mesh already quite well together. But especially on that final match, so they like give it a little bit context. In the PPA usually on the final championship Sunday, it's a best 3 out of 5 rather than your traditional 2 out of 3. No one did beat the Jogger in 3, and they did it. They beat them in 3 games, and I understand there's a couple. The game 2 and game 3 was very close, but Duong and Ao Shan just keep under pressure. just keep under pressure. There's like, yes, okay, there's maybe 1, 2, 3 ding, and then speed up. Every speed up, speed up, speed up, speed up. And then you can see the Jones brother was not able to handle that that's constant speed up. Like when there was like a that was the reason why the JW Johnson and Dylan Fraser was not able to beat them consistently. Is the reason because JW and Dylan Fraser is like more like a passive aggressive player. Yeah, they have fast hands, but they're not gonna speed up on you if unless they saw as like really obvious speed up.
Yeah.
They rather dink than actually speed up. But if you're constantly speeding up like Alshon and Kwang Duong, first, Ben John's either gonna be over poaching or either he's gonna be out of position. Third, Colin Johns, even though this on the whole week, I can see the whole tournament, he was being a little bit more aggressive, but still not as aggressive that a normal right-hand player should be. And that was his problematic. He was still too defensive, and Kwang Dong was just pouncing balls at him nonstop. And that was the deal breaker. And then people like was all over the internet saying, well, we're not doing two shot drop anymore. No one's gonna do drops anymore now. Everything's gonna be a drive. And don't forget, Duan got pickled 3 times, right? He got pickled twice against Federal Cruz Daskrut in singles in semifinals 11-0, 11-0, and then got pickled again in mixed double, and come back in championship Sunday and beat the Johns brother. So that was a serious mental resilience for me.
Playing in with a chip on his shoulder that championship Sunday, that's for sure.
Yeah, think about it. You get pickled 3 times, should be in your mind. He's like, no, I'm driving every freaking ball possible, whatever. Yeah. So that was great mentality. I think that was the highlight of the weekend, except at the CNPL. On the PPA side, that was the biggest highlight. The others not very surprise result, unfortunately. Annalie Waters and Catherine Parento beating Anna Bright and Rachel Rothbacher. Normal, nothing to say. They're just those 2 females just way beyond the other females. Unfortunately, they're not even close. And then the mixed pairing, Ben Johns and Annalie Waters beating Anna Bright and Christian Auchan. Again, it's a little tough because Anna Wright is the first time playing with Christian Auchan. Congrats to them to make it to the finals, but it's tough to try to beat Annalie and Ben Johns. Unfortunately, that's not going to be easy. And then on the singles, people are saying, "Oh, Federal Statscrew is beating everyone." Sorry, he's not beating Ben Johns. Every time he's playing Ben Johns, he's gonna lose. Yep, Ben Johns beat him. It just make him like, well, here you go, just another player in singles. It's not God. Anyway, and then Anthony did not play singles, so therefore Butner did win her second PPA at women's title back-to-back. Congrats her. So that was all from PPA. And next week, the coming week, they already have the PPA Utah. I have a feeling is the PPA is getting a little bit too much. Like back to like I think it's like the 4th consecutive PPA and MLP like back-to-back. That's a lot. Like, oh my god!
I think they're trying to squeeze in as much as they can before the winter months come. Mind you, it's like, I guess Utah you would need to do that, but I was like Arizona, like you can be having games all the way in December, and that's not really going to make a difference.
Well, like even Florida or Texas or California, they play them in January and February anyway. So I was like, why like scramble everything now? They should be maybe spacing them out a little bit. No, they just scramble everything in one slot. Anyway, and I don't want to be a PPA player, to be honest with you.
moving on to the main event this weekend. No offense, Vic. The CNPL had their Western Split in Calgary at the Calgary Pickleball Center, and I gotta say there were some really, really good games. A lot of the teams were close. Really quickly, the Rollers got Ryan Torrenson back, and they continued as if he had never left. The Lions made a last-minute roster change. They picked up Allie Williams, and I gotta say, she played very, very well for someone basically stepping into the frying pan or stepping into the fire out of the frying pan, because like going right in and you're playing on like at the time of the split started, the number one seeded team. They did not have a female or a male sub for the Lions this weekend because the other two females were injured, so that's why the Lions had to drop one. Now there's a rumor going around that one of them wasn't really injured, but I'll leave it at that, and I'll leave it up to people's imagination of who they think it was or whichever. But yeah, shout out to Ali. She played. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're playing it. They're playing at Nationals apparently. So, but yeah, shout out to Ali. I thought she had a great debut, and she played. She was a very, very solid player playing on the right for both the women's and the mix. And she was playing with LC for majority of the games, and I thought she complemented LC very, very well.
Good for her.
All right, so like we did last time we did the podcast, me and Victor picked 4 teams each. So we'll start with Victor's 4 teams.
Sure.
And we'll kind of play off each other from there. So Victor, who are your 4 teams that you did?
So this time I did a little bit better. I did watch them a little bit closely, so I got a little bit better insight. So I got the Wolverines, the Rush, the Brewers, and the Smash. So let's start with the Wolverines. They did pretty good, to be honest with you. They did 6-4 record. So even though the final standing didn't really reflect their play, I think they're starting to compete against the top team. So a couple of highlight wins. So one of them is against the Smash. They just rolled them 3 games right away. So and Ava Weeks and Aranya, they beat Kim Layton and Christina Chin on that one. That was a surprise. I was not expecting them to beat them. And
yeah, that's a massive upset.
Exactly. And they like that was the first match they play against each other, and they beat them right away. That I think that was already as like just as a standpoint, that helps a lot already because you're just like that match you're not supposed to win, you win it, so you already won up against a pretty big team. The men's went on beat beat the Smash, which is expected because you have Joel Peltier and then you have Haddle also. Then on the mix was interesting. They put Ava Weeks with Joel Peltier. That was not an unusual mix. They did it that they're actually already practicing together in the provincial. So I was expecting, okay, that makes sense that they do it. But are they gonna beat Kim Layton and Juan in that one? Probably not. Nope. They did beat them pretty handily on that match. So that
it was Darren Juan playing with Kim.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, because I didn't see that one. Okay, no, I could see that because Darren's a good player, but he is a bit of a step down from Nathan Choi. Because normally it's him and Nathan playing together. So like I would give actually because of how strong Joel is, I would probably give them a little bit more of an up. I'd say more even at that point then, because especially how I was already used to playing with Joel. So
yeah, but what I was seeing, unfortunately, I will say, don't know what happened to this to the team on Smash. For some reason, I felt like Kim was still not 100%. She's not taking that like alpha female role as usually she would be, and like she was like just sitting there rather than poach the alpha female that's going to going at the opponent. So I think that was a big deal. We'll talk about it a little bit more when I went to this. We'll dissect it more the Smash. And then, well, unfortunately, also Wolverine has some bad loss against the Brewers. So this time Ava did not play with Joel, was playing with Haddle instead. They were playing against Mark Clemenson and Rosati. They beat them to 21-10. That was a pretty bad loss. And at the same time, it felt like maybe Ava should just stay with Joel, then not play with Haddle. I agree that Joel is so much better, but I think also the dynamic of Joel with Ava is much better than Haddle too. So
Yeah.
that
Well, yeah, and because she's been training with Joelle, they're already, you can see the chemistry, and she can already read what Joelle's doing. So she knows when to move over, let him kind of try and take over the court. She knows her spot on the floor. Whereas I find Hado's a little bit more, I don't want to say explosive, sort of the word, but sometimes he steps in and poach when you're not expecting him to. Like he goes to make the read, but it's not. It's almost like he decides it like a half second too late.
yeah, it's not as consistent as
Yeah, he's
Joel.
not as consistent. Whereas Joel, he's stepping into that. Like, whereas, and I think that's because when Hato plays with Joel, Hato's playing kind of the more defensive role between the two of them, and so now he's trying to do that. And I can speak for this as experience, as when I play. Normally, I'm usually the defensive guy, but then when I play with a partner who's the more defensive one, and I have to step up, I find it takes me a game or two to get my adjustment to read those when to step in and poach, because the first game or two I'll be like a half second behind. Like I'll still hit the ball, but a lot of times I'm putting it out, or I'm putting it into the net, or I'm just misreading it entirely. So I think that's what was happening with Hato there, is he's trying to be more aggressive, but it's just
It's not
him
his
and Ava weren't.
primary role usually, right?
And when you watched Ava play with Joelle, it was such a good mesh that when you watch her play with Hato, even though they play okay together, it's not as good as when she's playing with Joelle.
Agreed. And then Araya was playing very solid. I felt like she did help out the female part, like win a couple like key matches that was necessary. So that's what I felt. I find out also. And then the male sub Williamson was turning on the heat on day two. Like day one, you barely saw him playing, but on day two, he was present, and he was I would say a great sub for Joel. Like when you need to give a break for Joel, put him in. You're gonna win.
Yeah, and when he gets going, he then gets going. Like I noticed when Joe was playing on the Rush earlier in the year, he was very up and down. But that's because him, like I said, him and Brett Forsyth, when they were playing together, they're very similar with how their emotions go on the court. So if one goes down, they both go down. Where when he's playing with Hato is a very positive player. So Hato can balance that out. Like if Joe starts to dip, Hato can keep him level. Right. And I think that's one of Hato's strongest suits, isn't just his play, but his ability to keep his partner level headed. Like, because even Joel, every now and then Joel will get a little too heated, and then he gets too aggressive, and Hato's able to kind of calm the storm and just get Joel right at that just aggressive enough, but not over aggressive. And then that's why there's such good player dynamic. So Joe coming into that and getting to play with Hato there, you could see that same dynamic as when Hato plays with Joel.
Definitely, and I think that was a great, definitely a great pick from the Wolverines, that what they have done. So yeah, 6-4. That's a pretty respective performance, and that actually pushed them to number five spot. So they're now just now being above the Smash. Because they were starting behind the Smash. Now they in front of the Smash. Yeah, that was kudos to them. Then we have the Rush. Unfortunately, they did not win too well. I guess they haven't actually won. Well, they have win matches a game, but they didn't win any matchup, unfortunately. So
I think their closest one was against the Lions, and they technically should have won that, but they lost it. I think 21-20 in the Dream Breaker.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah.
but at the same time, the line was maybe a little bit winded also at that time being too. But anyway, they did not play well, unfortunately. The 0-10. Like especially game day one, they have so many bad losses. Like some of them don't even reach to 15. So that was pretty. They need to do something about it. A couple of things I saw. Like Eugene Mark played well, but it seems like Brett Forsyth and Jonah there was not really supporting him that well. Especially Jonas was making so much unforced errors, especially like I know he can do the ATP on from the backhand, but he missed like almost like 5 to 6 in a row. Like when you do that, you probably want to tune it down, maybe just dink it back in from
Think it back, like,
center.
yeah.
Yeah, but he keeps doing the same mistake back on and on. So you're like, oh my god, like don't like.
Yeah, sometimes the simplest play is the best way to go when you're having trouble, right? Just get it. I know I've said that to myself in a match before. I was like, Andrew, just put it over the net. Don't do anything fancy. Just get it over the net. Get a couple of hits in, and then look for the openings. Like,
Yeah, exactly. And then Brett Forsyth, day one. I'm sorry, I gave him terrible. He was getting frustrated. You can see it in his face, in his body language. He's not performing well. He's dragging. Unfortunately, Eugene also down at the same time, so they're not able to perform as well. You can see all the other team was trying to ice out Eugene, and Eugene like, and I was like, come on, Eugene, like take more courts. You need to go take more court because your partner is not doing well. You need to try. Like I know they want like everything is going to your partner, but at least go take maybe one, come back just to change the dynamic a little bit. But no, Eugene was staying on his side, so you're like, oh my god, he got iced out, and then yeah, is what it is. The female, the Joanne Vanja and Sophie Racine. Unfortunately, there's no dominant player on that pairing. There's no alpha, so both of them are not pulling away enough ball that was necessary that needs to be pulling away. And unfortunately, I know the female like your power is not important, but at the same time, you need some like an alpha female to go finish the job. And
well, yeah, and like in previous splits, Jordan was doing that, but yeah, the games I saw them play, it was
no,
like
Jordan was not.
No, I know, yeah, like this weekend, but like in previous splits, you saw her be more aggressive and stuff. And
yeah, I know
those putaways, but I don't know what it was this week. Now, like we said in the last podcast, I don't know if they were just Kate, let's get everyone in, see what chemistry works. We're not going to worry too much about them. So maybe she wasn't pushing herself as hard. But that's what I noticed. And then like when she played with Sabrina, they weren't talking at all. I don't know how many times they clashed paddles in the middle.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember which one I was. I think it was when they were playing. I want to say either like the Pronghorns or it might have been Toronto United. But I think they clashed paddles like for like 3 shots in a row.
Oh my!
And I was just like, "Hey, someone call it. Someone say mine, right?"
I got a Sabrina got a quiet paddle, but still, anyway.
Yeah, exactly right.
but still, you should be clashing paddle. Yeah, and that's another problem too. They hasn't been using Sabrina Lamb enough. I would want them to actually use her more. I know that she just got traded. I know that like chemistry was not there right away, but like she's one of your newest asset. Like she should be at least your second female out there. Like she was really solid. Like her defense was really on point. So therefore,
her defense was solid when she was on the Wolverines too, right? So it's just I don't know if she's had enough because it was only the one split. I don't know if she's had enough time to get that other starting spot away from Sophia, right? And because Jordan and Sophia trained together, now this might be a little bit more politicky.
Yeah, that could be
right,
too.
Right. So they train together all the time. They play together all the time in tournaments. So they're gonna be like, okay, well, we want to play together because we think that's better chemistry. But it's like, okay, but when you go to the mixed side, I think Sabrina's the better decision
Oh yeah,
to play with, to be the second female next aside from Jordan, right? So it's
oh yeah,
like,
definitely.
so it's like, okay, you have to kind of pick. It's like, how good, well, do you think your women's team is going to do versus, okay, is our women's team going to get beat? Like, say if we're playing Kim and Christina have been on fire today. Okay, if we play Kim and Christina, are we actually going to win, or do we want to kind of punt that one and focus on our mixed?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting because, yeah, because I thought the matches I saw when they were playing one of the teams I was watching, whenever Sabrina was in and playing mixed, I thought even if her mixed team didn't win, it was always like a 21-19 or a 21-20
Yeah, it was
loss.
very
Like
close.
they were like right there, right?
They were
So
close enough. Like you
yeah,
can see
close enough that
their
it could be a toss up, right? So
So that's why I was saying, like I would say mix. If you want to win during your playoff, you got to put Sabrina Lamb somewhere, because otherwise you just toss your matchup. It's over.
yeah.
So that's for the Rush. Sorry, being more critical, but that's what I
Well,
saw.
it's 10-0. Like we said, it's hard. It's when you or sorry 0-10. When you go 0-10, it's hard to focus on the positives. Like we said, though, hopefully they found out what combinations work from those 10 games, and and going into championship weekend, if they can lock those down. And who knows if they can all get there maybe a couple days early and do a little bit more drilling together and try and get some of that chemistry down even more. Like, you never know. We've seen the number 8 seed beat the number 1 seed last year, so
That's true. It can happen.
yeah.
And then we have the Smash. Unfortunately, Smash did that well. So they went 4-5, and for some reason, like Christina Chin and Kim Layden is arguably supposed to be the number 1 female team, like pairing at all time. For some reason, this split is not happening. It shows that there was like beatable. They're not, like they're just being like much beatable for some reason. Like either is it Kim that's not being attacking enough, or is it because they put Christina on the left that's supposed to be on the right? I don't know. Like when they had a couple of losses already, I thought they should have put Christina back to the on the right, and then put Kim on the left, just to mix it up, just to change the dynamic a little bit. No, they all the other games they still went Christina on the left and Kim on the right, and unfortunately did not really win well. They probably win maybe max 50% of their matchup, which is not enough if
Yeah,
you're the
especially
number
with
one.
previous splits, they were going like 9-1.
Exactly. I don't.
Right?
So that's why I was like, something's off. What is going
I
on?
don't know if that hamstring injury is nagging Kim again. I thought, at least in especially the because they played in the final couple of matches that I was watching on the Sunday. I thought she looked really ginger on her from the baseline getting up to the kitchen. Like once she was at the kitchen, she was okay. But I thought that forward and back movement from her,
The transition, basically,
yeah,
on
the
the
transition,
transition zone.
her transition speed, she looked like she was moving a little gingerly, like she was afraid to pull something. Right.
Maybe.
And I also thought it was funny because Irene made the comment when we were watching. She goes, "Are they just being nice?" Because there was a few rallies where it looked like
Oh yeah.
they popped the ball. Like maybe not like, I'm not talking a pop-up overhead smash pop-up, but pop-up enough that you can get a good forehand hit roll with it. And Kim and Christine were just hitting it back over. They weren't like forcefully.
No, it wasn't punching, right?
Yeah.
I don't feel like the regular like aggressiveness that
Yeah, like they were almost content to say, okay, well, fine, we'll have a 20 dink rally instead of like, okay, after the 5th dink, oh, that's high, I'm just going to power it at your feet, see if you'll pop it up, and then we'll finish you off like they were doing at all the previous events, right? So yeah, like I think I got to see them 3 or 4 times, and like every time, yeah, I found like, okay, why aren't they being as aggressive? And then on the men's side, I don't know. If I compare it to the last split, if you look at the last split where they went 6-3 or whatever it was, Nathan and Albir were like hyping each other up constantly.
No,
right? Dalbeer
this
plays
split,
so
no.
much better when he's hyped. And he
Agreed.
just kind of looked like blah. Like there was no expression on his face for a lot of the games. There was like a couple where a good rally would happen. He'd score the point. He'd kind of do like that whole like that beast kind of flex. But normally he's doing that like every point.
No, this
right?
during the whole 2 days, there's like no emotion. There's like
Yeah,
nothing.
right. And same thing,
There's just
and
nothing.
Nathan thrives off of that, right? Like the one of the best ones is he did the when they won the one Dream Breaker, he did like the thing where he sticks the thing out like it's the paddle out like it's a gun and then he drops it. Like imitating that Turkish shooter from the Olympics.
Oh yeah, I know,
Whatever
I
it
know
was,
that.
right? Because they even
Yeah.
tagged that on social media after. But I was just like, yeah, I said that's when Nathan's playing his best is when he's a little bit chirpy, when he's getting hyped up, when he's hyping up his partner. Like that's why I love the combination of him and Kim, because he hypes Kim up. And we all know when Kim gets hyped, she becomes nearly unstoppable.
It is.
Right? Like when you see Kim hardcore fist pumping or like doing one of these, like after she scores a point, then you know you're in trouble because now she's locked in. And I think Nathan does a really good job of that with her. But even like, and I thought that was the one spot where they were actually pretty good was their mixed pairs were pretty consistent. They had like one or two not great matches, but I thought the mixed pairs this weekend were a lot more consistent than the men's and the women's pairs.
Agree. Yeah, because men's pair, I was like, there's just lack of energy. There's nothing going on. I was like, what's going on? Like,
and like we
Nathan,
said, guys,
where are you?
Feed off of that. They need to be going. Like I don't care. Intentionally body bag someone just to get yourself hyped if you need to, but like
or just go like Zane Naruto, just nasty Nelson someone. Let's go.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Like do something to get yourself going because that like you could see the lack of energy because like when Dalbeer's not engaged, he starts standing up straight and he's getting caught with speed ups right at his hip. Right. Whereas when he's engaged, he's a little bit more bent down. And then especially when he's on the right and it's right there to his backhand, he's deadly at popping that back at you. But it's only when he's engaged. When he's not and he's standing up straight, he keeps getting caught or he'll pop it up.
Yeah, right? He's kicking body bag or tag. Unfortunately, I saw a lot of that this weekend. They have the male sub, the Wang, but unfortunately, he's definitely the sub. Unfortunately, so he wasn't able to really either step up enough to help like to replace Nathan or Devere. And the other problem is like we said already, they don't have a female sub. So Christina and Kim has to play almost every single matches. So means they don't have any breaks, and especially when you have back-to-back matchup. Oh my God, that's draining.
Yeah, exactly. And this would have been the event to just say, hey, pick up somebody random just to get each of you a game break. You know what I mean? Like save your energy because you're playing in nationals this week. And actually, as we speak right now, nationals are going on. The first day probably just ended.
Somewhere now.
Yeah.
Well, they should have ended.
Yeah.
three hours ahead
because they're like 4 hours ahead of us. So or 3.5 or whatever it is. But yeah, so like nationals just started this week. So like you're going from the CNPL to nationals and then you got championship weekend. So conserve your energy a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, so, but yeah, so like, I do understand. Yes, they're probably the best female pairing in this league, but you still need a break. Like, like you're not inhuman. Right? So,
yeah, airing is available. Just saying.
We keep saying. Well, and she'll be with me and Victor at championship weekend. So I told her to bring her pickleball gear just in case, because you never know. So
there you go. And then I have to smash. And here we go. Brewers. The Brewers really,
started slow but finished strong.
Oh my God! They went 6 in a row at this afterwards. Holy.
Yeah, I think they went. What did they go like 0-3 or 0-4 to start? Or they were like 3 or like 1-3, and then they went like what was it, like
6 in a row.
5-1 or something like that? Yeah, it was ridiculous.
No, I think they won 6 in a row. They basically
Oh yeah, so they went 0-4 the
6.
first. They went 0-4 the first day, and then won six
Yeah,
straight on the Sunday. So that's a good recovery because it kept them in third place.
Yeah, exactly. Because at first I was like, first day I was like, maybe what's going on, and then day 2 is like completely fresh. They're like, no, we're just
they made really good adjustments, especially in the women's pairing, because originally they were having Amanda on the left and Victoria on the right, and then they flipped that for Sunday.
Yes,
and I thought they played so much better with that, especially in their women's pairing.
Yeah, that worked out so good. A couple of weird, a little bit of a weird setup too. They have a Mark on the right most of the time, even on mix. But for some reason, he was working, so I was like,
he does that all the time because he likes his two-handed backhand.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I saw. He's two-handed backhand.
He even did that. He even did that last year when he was playing with Christina Chin. Like that was like their thing where he'll still take up like
80% of
the court, but then he really likes that two-handed backhand roll shot drive. So
yeah, exactly. But well, that was working so well, and he was playing so good with Goman. So I was like, well, I think that was working. And then and he did turn on the heat also on day 2. It was all over the place.
Yeah. Did they also switch the mixed pairings? Because I know he was originally playing with Victoria DeMuso, but I saw a couple games I saw them play on Sunday.
She was adding to. Yeah, they did. Yeah. They did some sort of a switching pair of a pairing. Yeah. But I will say either pairing was not the deal breaker as long as Mark is locked in, and when he's locked in.
Yeah, when he's locked in, he's very hard to stop. Like you almost
the feedback as long as she's just taking the line, that's it, game over.
Yeah, you literally have to try and ice him, and you're playing literally on 10% of the court. So then it makes it even harder to ice him out because 10%, if the female only has to cover that, she's just sitting there like this with her backhand. Like, yeah, go ahead. Hit it to me, right? And she goes, I'm just going to keep putting it back over.
Both female did it perfectly. So she's just sitting there, and they're just getting out of the way of Mark poaching most of the balls. And here we go. That's it.
Yeah, and both Victoria and Amanda have a very good two-handed backhand hit. So it's like even if you're going to their backhand, they can hammer that ball back at you.
Oh yeah, that definitely they did it so they did adjust it very well. And then the other guy's name I forgot. What's his first name? Mikhail. Mikhail was pretty very good. I felt.
Like he was. I liked it because I know last split he was super defensive. Like his resets and stuff have always been good, but I thought this weekend and the few games I saw, he got a little bit more aggressive, and so then he was able to counterattack with a reset, and then he'd hit you with a speed up, and then get the finish. Right, he was like basically counterattacking, and I really liked how he was doing that.
Yes, and this split he was really complimenting Mark's aggressiveness. I was seeing that now he knows his role, what to do now. Yeah, and I think that will become a dangerous pairing. And then we have you now. You have.
So it's funny. Three of my teams had a very, very good weekend. They were all rolling really well. So we'll start with the rollers. So Ryan Torrenson was back, and it was like he never left. The rollers went 4-1 the first day. They finished the weekend 7-3. Played like I said, I made the prediction that I thought they were going to hop the Lions. Now they technically tied the Lions in wins and losses, but they beat them on the matches won and lost percentage. So that's why they get first place overall.
Congrats to them. They are playing well.
I thought Casey was a little off the first day, but they made the right decision, and they gave Tara a lot more games, and they were actually rotating her and Casey like a game-to-game basis. And Tara stepped up and played very, very well. And when Corey got in, he played very, very well. I got to give Corey props. He has improved himself so much more from last year. And his ability to play with either Tara or when he plays with Casey, like the chemistry is there. Like they have a very good team mesh. It's like regardless of who goes in, they're all playing well together. And then Jess and Ryan, I gotta say they gotta be, if not number one, they gotta be one of the top two mixed pairings in the CNPL. I don't like they've rarely lose. They're playing out of their minds. And you can hear them talking on the court, like great communication. And like I said, they've been this has probably been the most consistent and like team with the least amount of weak spots. Like, yeah, there was a couple games where Casey had a couple off hits. Matt Sadola had one or two game or two where he was a little bit off or not utilizing his drive as much as he probably should. But in the end, they still won. They still won.
Yeah, but I think that, and at the same time, I was realizing something. That was pretty much the only team that have a pretty strong female and a pretty strong male. So Jessica was that pretty strong female, and then you have Ryan that was the pretty strong male. Compared to all the other teams, it was a little kind of scattered here and there. Okay, like Smash, yeah, they have two alpha female, but that's it. They don't have like
and they're able to play good at the same time, and that's where I've been going with. They're the most consistent team. It's like like even if they might have one person have a rough, but then the other three players pick it up.
Exactly.
Right? And they've all taken kind of turns doing that. I think with the exception of Jess. I think Jess has been on fire this entire season. Yeah. I don't think she's had a bad split ever. Yeah, so like between them, like just playing out of their minds, like going like so they're one where you can call it off split was when Ryan wasn't there, and they still went 5-5. And that was at the central split. Like, so they went like, I think it was like 7-3, 7-3, and a 5-5, and their top male wasn't there. So this is by far, in my opinion, the number one team going in, and like they've earned that spot. Like I said, not a lot of bad things to say about this team. They've just been playing so well together, and the communication is there. And for a team with honestly players kind of scattered all over the place, like well, maybe not really, because Casey and Matt, both from BC, so they can kind of practice together if they can. Yeah. And then, Jess is Toronto. Yes, Ryan is down in like Pennsylvania or something, I think is where he normally lives, but I'm assuming he comes up and train. If not, he's constantly training in the States. And then him and Jess are just they've just had good chemistry off the hop. So, and like I said, when Tara and Corey get in, they're holding their own and making really good plays. I actually think Tara this split played even better than what she did in the last couple. Like she was making some really good reads, some really good kills throughout the event when she got in. Like I said, they were kind of rolling her and Casey, like they would go 1-1-1-1-1-1 like that. And it was like they didn't miss a beat. It was like Casey came in, she was well rested, she'd kill it. Tara would come in, well rested, she'd kill it, and then Jess is just a machine, right? So it's just so nothing but good things to say about the Rollers. We move on to the Lions. So once again, like we said at the beginning, big shout out to Allie Williams. Stepped in last minute, and I thought she performed insanely well. Like very defensive stalwart, but still had that a little bit of that attack mentality. I thought her and LC were a great pairing, and then Anne and Ernesto played really, really well. Once again, because they didn't have any subs, you could see them start to teeter a bit by the end of the weekend.
Especially day two, I felt Ernesto was a little bit winded, maybe.
Yeah, and that's gonna happen. Like we said, when you only got 4 players and nobody has a sub. Like when you saw them at their peak was the last split when they had subs for everybody and everybody got in, because then Ernesto and LC don't get tired.
Oh no,
right? They just go off. And on championship weekend, when you're only playing one game every like couple of hours, everyone's going to be well rested for that. Because if they stick with the format that they did last time, they do one game at a time. They only have one court, so you do all the first.
What they're going to do.
I think that's what you should do, because then every game gets featured, right?
Yeah, just the highlight, right?
Yeah, exactly, and that's what you should do. So like you'll play one game. If you'll play the one match, you'll move up, but then you wait for the entire other part of the bracket to go before you play your next game, right? So you got lots of time to keep yourself rested, keep yourself stretched. So the Lions are going to be a tough out for the team that gets them, because like Ernesto and LC well rested, and if Jade Cassandra comes back as well, so then you have the option of either Jade Cassandra or Allie to go in there with Anne Sophie. That's they're still not the best women's team, but they're putting the more they've been playing, they've been putting up more and more of a fight and then stealing some games.
Yep.
And I really noticed on day 2, they were just staying back and just powering it at the other women. Like they were willing to stay back for like 3 or 4 hits and just start like it was like a female Victor out there, just like drive. And they have the power to do it because I think they're all former tennis players.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And so you could see some of the women on the other team having trouble. Like they were like still knocking the ball down, but it was bouncing down and then it was still high. So they were able to come in and step in,
second
power it. Right. So it was just, it was a very, very good showing, and they went 6-3. So
that's reasonable, definitely.
That's a very, very, very good. And like I said, they finished 19-9 as well. So, and the only reason why they're not in first is just because they played a couple more dream breakers than what the Rollers did. So,
but at the same time, like I said, Rollers was playing good too. So like it's tough. We kind of knew those are the best 2 teams anyway.
Yeah, we knew they would be jockeying for first and second, and the fact that they ended up tied technically in wins and losses at the end, and it came down to matches won and lost, like. You can't get any closer than that, right? So, okay, we'll go with the one that's more of a sour note. Pronghorns.
I don't know what happened out there.
Very inconsistent weekend. They had some games where they played great, and then other games where almost everyone played bad.
I thought was a little bit.
I thought Kim Brent was off. She's off. And not as much in the women's, but in the mix with Brad. I thought she was making some decisions that's very unlike her. There was shots where she's reaching and shots where she's doing like a cross-court speed up, and then Brad's getting like hung out to dry on some of those shots. So I don't know if maybe she got tired or what. Sunny didn't get in very much. Sunny was the pickup they had before like they dropped.
I was a little bit disappointed. I was like, Sunny's a pretty good player. Like, why?
Sunny is a good player, and he I think he only got in for like 2 games, maybe 3 at best. So, Emma as well. There was games where she looked super engaged, and then other games where she looked a little lethargic. So I don't know because I think she was. The last one when we said she was off, she was sick, and I think she also had a wrist injury, is what it was. And I think it's her paddle, it's her right hand. So I don't know if that's still bugging her, because I saw a lot more of this 2-handed kind of dink shot, which she does do, but I thought it was a lot more prevalent this weekend. So I'm wondering if that wrist is still bugging her a bit. And then the big issue with Kim and Emma is neither of them really has that put away power. Like if you pop it up to either of them,
a little bit like a rush, basically.
They can slam it down, but it's not really like if you get back, most teams can return it. Like it's not like it's not a kill shot. You know what I mean?
It's not like a Kim Layton smash. Then you're like, oh.
Yeah, it's not like a Kim Layton, a Christina Chin, or a Jessica Quanamoto type smash. You know what I mean? So and I just thought like they couldn't put a full like 4 game together. Like like the women might win one, and then the men would lose, and then the mix was kind of meh. And they did go to a couple dream breakers, and honestly, that's where they're really weak. Like neither Emma or Kim are strong female singles. Brad's pretty good, Mike's pretty good, but when you're playing against like when they went to a dream breaker against the Smash. They only lost 21-18, but like that's still Christina Chin versus whoever. Christina's going to win that. Kim Layton, depending on if she had Emma and Caitlin Soroka and Sunny were in that. So Caitlin might have a better chance because Caitlin's a little bit quicker on her feet, but still you're playing against like Kim Layton. And then you're going against like Brad will probably beat Delbeer, even though Delbeer's got the length. Brad is very precision. He'll get
Brad, yeah, exactly.
But then you have Sunny versus Nathan Choi, right? And unless Nathan puts the ball out, Nathan's probably going to win that battle, right? And then like the other dream breaker they went to was against the Wolverines. and then you had Ava, and then Natalie. And Natalie, that's where Natalie shines.
Natalie
With that two-handed drive of hers, she can, if she's on the back line, she can put that anywhere she wants.
Exactly.
Right? So
I saw that happen, and I was like, ooh.
Yeah. So like for the Pronghorns going, so like yeah, they finished 2-7, so like not a good weekend.
But even like just not
and
even
you can see the frustration kicking in too, with especially with Kim and Brad. Kim and Brad, not like when they're playing together, but on the sidelines, you could see the frustration starting to like show on their faces and stuff, because they just couldn't put together a solid performance.
True, and even I'll say the male pairing having a Brad and McGoffrey also, like, I don't know, like there is some kind of disconnect a little bit in their pairing. I know they have been winning quite a bit, but still, like either McGoffrey should be on the left, or Brad should be on the right, but Brad is now on the left and having McGoffrey on the right. It's like, who's taking middle? Who's going to be the alpha male? It's like kind of a little weird, that dynamic. I saw a couple of points. It's like Brad wants to take over, and then you have it's Mike McCaffrey, right? Am I right?
Michael.
Yeah, Michael. So Mike is like, and then Mike suddenly come in, and then Brad was like, "What the heck? Why are you coming in?" So it was a little bit of a weird dynamic. They still haven't completely figured out who's taking what, and they
and that was kind of yeah. Sorry, go ahead and finish that, Vic.
Yeah, it was just really awkward. Just seeing them play on the males match, because on paper they should be at least second to none to the Lions male pairing. They should be, like, on paper.
Yeah. Well, and they've been the male team that gives the Lions the most trouble.
Yes,
well.
Exactly.
And like they have been playing Brad on the left and Michael on the right, and they've been meshing really well. But this tournament, yeah, it was like they were getting their signals crossed for some reason.
Yeah, I was like,
the previous two splits, they were meshing really well, like with Michael on the right and Brad on the left. Michael was there with his backhand and just would power stuff down. He'd step over and Ernie stuff, and then Brad would be there, because Brad's literally like there with his paddle in the middle, and yeah, go ahead and speed it up at me, and then just slam it and finish it off, right? But yeah, was
like, what's going on? Like,
yeah, I know it threw me off, because like they were playing so well the last two splits together, and then this one they just kind of just did not click right. So,
and also
now by far the best game that they played, or one of the funnest games to watch, was against the Lions, and that one went to a dream breaker. Which now, and like I said, but you go to a dream breaker against the Lions, you're going to lose, because it's all tennis players that you're getting stuck in. Because I think they lost that one 21-15, but like Kim and Emma did their job. They won the women's. Brad and Mike didn't play as well that one, and Ernesto and LC beat them. But I think if you look at the overall versus, I think Brad and Mike still have like a 3-1 advantage in the men's pairing, because when they slow the game down and force Ernesto and LC to play the slow game, that's when they get them.
Yep.
And but yeah, so like I want to chalk it up to like an off weekend. I don't know, maybe it was playing in front of the home crowd for a bunch of them, because there was a crap ton of Pronghorn fans there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right, and I don't know if maybe if they were getting overhyped and trying to go too hard, but
also the court was not helping them. I'm seeing Michael missing a lot of serve, and then knowing Calgary,
it's very narrow on the back.
Exactly. So he couldn't back off as much and hit his serve. So I'm seeing that he's missing those ball long, like, all the time.
There was a lot of players the ball out long.
Yeah, I compared to the other split, like, you could have backed off a little bit more. I don't think in Edmonton we'll have this problem, because in the Edmonton facility, you do have quite a bit of court space at the back, so shouldn't be a problem. But I think that was one of my critique when I'll say I was written down in this split, is the facility does not allow them to back off as much, especially as they're playing at that high level, they need that court space at back.
Yeah. Well, I know when me and Irene played there, I was literally had my back foot against the wall when I was serving just to make sure my ball didn't go out. And I still probably put a couple deep. Right. So, but yeah, so they probably won't like that. That drops them down to 7th place with finishing 12 and 16. But I think if they shake this off, they can still put up a really good fight come the championship weekend. And then to finish off, the team, as soon as you think they're down, they keep coming at you. Like, I am giving total props to Toronto United. You start off the season losing Hannah Blatt, your MVP from last season. And then like start out not great, but still not bad. And it was and that first split, and then the second split get a little better. And then this
still,
everyone played good. It wasn't just like Matt Quanamoto and his merry men. It was literally everyone who got in played good. Like Chris Elaine got in, played good. It didn't matter which female was in there. They all played good. Joe, Cena, Carolina, they all played excellent. They had like, what was it? I'll say 2 matches where it was a little bit of a slip up and they probably shouldn't have lost. And then a dream breaker loss to the Smash. And that was a 21-20 final, right? Like that's
a toss up. That's
a tough loss, but you still get 2 matches out of that, right? So they finished with the second best record at 7-3.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I got nothing but good things to say about that. That was a great performance. Like everyone played well. Cena, I apologize so much if I'm saying your name wrong. I'm gonna make sure I introduce myself to you at championship weekend and get your name right. I thought she played like out of the 3 women who all played great. I thought she was by far the best out of the 3 of them. Like her resets, and then and very good at leaving balls. I don't know how many she just pulled like that matrix. And the ball sailed out. Like she did that so often on speed ups. I was like super, super impressed. Chris Elaine came in and was a huge X factor. Like I know the first split, he didn't play great. The second split, he played a lot better, but then Mark was off. You know what I mean? And then both him and Mark were on fire. And then Matt didn't go into like God. I didn't really have to go into full God mode. But when you start a firefight with Matt, like, and that was the other thing. One of my favorite matches was against the Smash, even though they lost that one in the Dream Breaker. The men's match, or no, it wasn't the men's match. The mixed match where it was, no, it wasn't that. Which one was it? I'm looking at the wrong one. Sorry, they did win. They played the Smash twice. They lost in the Dream Breaker 21-20, and then they won 21-14 in the next one. So this is the one I'm talking about. So it was Matt and Chris versus Nate and Dalbier. And Toronto United need to win this to force it into the Dream Breaker because they were down 2-1, right? And so Dalbier scores like on a fast hands battle and does his big flex, and then he goes to speed it up 2 different times to Matt, and Matt just makes him eat it, and then Matt does the flex back at him.
Exactly. I remember that one.
Right. I'm just like, man, someone screen grab that and post that for Toronto United. When Matt gets fired up like that, he's almost unstoppable because they ended up winning that men's match 21-16. It was like right after that battle, him and Chris just went on a run and then finished it off. And then same thing, singles. I think it was Chris versus Nate and then Matt versus Dalby. And I think Matt was kind of like, I don't know who decided the matchups, but if Toronto United, Matt was probably like, no, I want Dalby, right? It was like, because it was almost like he took it personal, and it was almost like you poked the bear, Dalby. You probably shouldn't have poked the bear. I know he's little, but but man. So yeah, like that's by far the standout team for me for this weekend. Like the Lions and the Rollers, we expected that from, but for Toronto United to come out and go 7-3 and in like dominant fashion 7-3. I'm super impressed with that, and whoever's gonna get them in the first round, oh man, like make sure you bring your A game because this team is really good at feeding off of their performance from the previous week. And you've seen that, like started off slow. Everyone was kind of figuring everyone out. The next one, they started getting better and better, and it was the same thing as the weekend went on. That's when they started
getting
to
better,
more, right? And then you move to this one, and then all of a sudden they've just taken that momentum and ran with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Like if I'm talking about the two teams with the most synergy right now, it's the Rollers and Toronto United. They're just like feeding off each other, flying. I would have stuck the Lions up there too. And the only reason why they're a slight step down is just because they had to bring in a sub and didn't have like their full roster there, but they were still like very, very cohesive. So like, so with Toronto winning that, they bumped themselves up all the way from 7th to 4th. So they did a 3-spot jump.
Oh yeah, that
was great. That was great to watch, and it's hard not to cheer for that team when you watch how they play and how into it they get. Like every winning point, and that's another thing with Cena. When they win, she just like full celebration mode, hugs her partner regardless of who it is. It was great to watch. So like for the end of that weekend, we had, what was it? So the Rollers went 7-2, Toronto United went 7-3, Lions went 6-3, Pronghorns went 2-7, Smash 4-5, Brewers 6-4, Wolverines 6-4, and then of course the Rush 0-10. So final standings then. At the end of the Western Split, we have Rollers first place, 19-9, and they get the tie break over the Lions with the matches for and against. Lions are 19-9. Brewers are 16-12. United 15-13. Wolverines and Smash are both 14-14, but same thing that happened with the tiebreaker. Wolverines have a better match win to match loss ratio.
I see.
Pronghorns 12-16, and then the Rush at 3-25. So, ouch, but.
Yeah, ouch.
But like I said, like we said, like at the previous podcast, we're chalking that up to, hey, nobody get hurt, figure out your chemistry. So I'm not putting too much weight on that weekend for them. I want to see how if they come out strong.
Yeah, like you said, the number 8 seed beat the number 1 seed before, so it can happen.
Exactly. Hey everyone, quick addendum before we jump into the next section here. Me and Victor recorded a spot where we were talking about the championship weekend, and we thought it was going to be the same format as last year. So 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, bracket format like that. So we go into like the cool storylines we thought that were going to happen with the matchups. Now, we realized after we had recorded that that is not the format that is going to be on championship weekend. There's actually going to be pool play, like a pool play playing style for the 3 to 8 teams, with 1 and 2 getting a bye into the quarterfinals. So we do talk about that, but if you don't want to listen to us kind of geek out about the bracket that actually isn't going to happen, you can just look in the show notes and jump ahead to that. But I kept it in there because I still thought it was fun to hear us geeking out about that. Okay, back to the show. So speaking of championship weekend, we have our bracket. So now that we've done all the seeding, so usual double elimination bracket. So it's still the same thing. First to 3 out of 5 wins. And then you move on. Now there will be a reseeding after the first round. So like if you're the number 8 team and you beat the number 1 team, you don't get the lower.
You get whoever the highest rated.
You get whoever the highest rated team is coming out from the rest of the. So there is a reseeding. They did that last year too. So.
Oh, okay. That's so bad.
Well, you're supposed to have the advantage.
I just feel bad if the number 8 team win and it was like, oh no, I have.
Yeah, then you got to play if the number 8 team wins, then you got to probably play the number 2 if the number 2 beats the number 1. So you got to play number 1 and number 2 back to back. But so now the great thing about this bracket is there's so many good storylines. Like if you want some must-watch TV this coming weekend, you tune in for the first round. So we'll start with 1 versus 8. So you have a rematch of last year, which was 1 versus 8 again, Rollers and the Rush, except the roles are reversed. Last year, the Rush were first and the Rollers were 8th place. The 8th place team last year beat the number 1 team to send them down to the B side of the bracket. And the cool thing is, so even though a lot of the teams did a roster switch, you still have 4 players from that previous matchup last year. Jess and Corey are still on the Rollers. Brent is still on the Rush, and then Jonas was on the Rollers last year, but now he's playing for the Rush.
Interesting.
Right? So Brett probably wants a little bit of vengeance for getting knocked off as the number 1 seed last year. And then Jess and Corey want to keep that momentum going. Right? So that's a really great match. I'm super excited for that. You have the Lions and Pronghorns for the 2 versus 7.
Mm-hmm.
And like we were saying earlier, the Pronghorns, especially on the men's side, are probably one of the toughest matchups for Ernesto and LC with Brad and Michael. When Michael and Brad are playing really good, they have kind of been Ernesto and LC's Achilles heel.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So they
need to keep it their momentum back up, because if they play what they did last weekend,
they need to find their synergy again and play and force the slow game, because that's where they got them. Right. Yep. So the main key in this match is the men's doubles.
Yeah.
The mix can kind of go either way. The women's, I'll give the nod to the Pronghorns if Kim and Emma are playing to their potential.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's that men's, because if you can have Kim and Emma win the women's, right, and then if Brad and Michael can hold off Ernesto and LC's push and get a 2-0 lead going into the mix, at least then you have a shot of taking one of those mix and not going to Dreambreaker. Because if you go to Dreambreaker, you are in a tough battle with that Montreal Lions team with how good all of their single play is.
Yeah, exactly. Just right? They almost like had to must win by either by 3-0 or either by the second mix. They have to get it done.
Exactly.
Right? They go to Dreambreaker, is over. This is over.
Yeah. And that's also the Michael and Brad versus LC and Ernesto is also, for majority of this whole season, has been one of the best men's matches to watch. Mm-hmm. So definitely tune in for that one. Then we have the Brewers versus the Smash. This is another good matchup because the Brewers have been one of the most consistent teams.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the Smash, depending on which team you get, right, depending on which team shows up, if you get the hot Smash, like from the Central Split, mm-hmm. then it's going to be an insanely tough match for the Brewers, because if you have Kim and Christina come in playing the way they should be playing, that should be a women's win, right? Mm-hmm. And then if Nathan Dalbier can hold their own against Mark and Mikkel, right? And then you go down to the mix, and then the mix is like that kind of toss-up. Either team can win that, right? Now, same thing, if you go to the Dream Breakers, that's even a toss-up because both of these teams have some very, very good singles players, right? So this is the one where I don't know who's going to win. The Brewers have been super consistent. Yeah, the Brewers have been super consistent with how they've been playing. And like I said, if the Smash come in as the Smash that's on paper how they should be playing, I might give them a slight edge just because of how strong the females are.
True.
Right? But if they don't come in hot,
if they play like last week,
the Brewers can easily take this.
Exactly. If they play like last week, the Brewers are definitely going to eat them alive.
Yeah. So this will either be a blowout or this will be an insanely good battle. Mm-hmm. It's going to be one or the other. I don't think you're going to have. I don't think the Smash will blow out the Brewers. It's either going to be the Smash win like in a 3-1 or like a 3-2 Dream Breaker, or the Brewers kind of wipe them.
Yeah.
Or pull out, because Dream Breaker anyone can win, but like, you know what I mean? Like it'll be a Dream Breaker, or the Brewers kind of wipe it.
Like a squad. Yeah.
Yeah. Is kind of where I think that matchup is going.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the final bracket, you have a rematch of the championship final last year.
Ouch.
So you have Toronto United and the West Coast Wolverines. So these two teams met in the semis. The Toronto United won, and then of course the Wolverines came back up from the B side to play them in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have both men returning from the Wolverines, Joel and Hato, and then you have the 3 players from the previous winning team, Matt, Mark, and Carolina for Toronto United.
Yeah.
So Wolverines are going to be looking for some vengeance, maybe knock off the defending champions if they can. Yeah. Toronto United is going to try and ride this wave that they have been building this whole season and see if they can come in and do it again. This will be a good match because, like I said, if you have Matt Kawamoto playing, I'm assuming it's going to be Mark Gottfried starting.
Yes.
Just because of how that, it'll probably be. I'm going to make the guess and say it's probably going to be Carolina and Cena for how well Cena's been playing for the women for the Toronto United team. And then now the Wolverines is interesting. I would probably stick Ava and Natalie in. Because of how well Natalie is, and then that way, if you go to a Dream Breaker, Natalie is your best female singles player.
That's true.
Right, and then if you stick Ava with Joelle, that's a very, very good.
Yeah, that's
Haddo's been pretty good with Natalie or Sarah, right? So it's kind of like, okay, do we stick Sarah in? And it's either gonna be Sarah or Natalie. I got a feeling Ava's gonna start.
Yeah,
because you want to win. You want to win at least one of the mix.
Because Joelle and Ava, that's a good amount of percentage win if they're sticking together.
Exactly right. So, that's gonna be that like I think all of these first round matchups is like must watch TV. This is all of these are gonna be good.
That'll be fun.
And this one I take as a toss up too. Like I said, if Toronto United keeps rolling this momentum they've been building, they're going to be really hard to stop, especially if Matt Kawamoto is playing his lights out. And then, like I said, it's like next man up for them. Everyone who's come in has been playing good, right? So, even if they lose, say if they lose in say a Dream Breaker, and if you want to switch the lineup up, it's still going to be a good lineup on the B side.
Yeah, they will be able to step up their game.
Right, so it's like I'm interested to see who TU starts. My guesses would be Matt, Mark, Carolina, and Cena, and then my guess for the Wolverines would be obviously Joelle and Haddo, and then I would have Ava, and I would probably go with Natalie just because of how well she played at the Western Split this past weekend.
Yes, I mean, complete agreement with you. So
yeah,
we'll see in a week.
Yeah, super excited for that, and we will see all of you guys there. Me and Victor will be there live. We're debating whether we want to do like after every game, maybe we'll stick up the camera and do a quick recap of it, or we'll see, because who knows, we might get to do some commentary too. Hey, Yui, if you need us, give us some
we'll be there
for you. We'll sit down with Cam and do commentary. So, disregarding what we literally just said, because we just looked at the CNPL webpage, I was super excited for those brackets, but apparently, it's looking a little bit different now, Victor. It looks like they're doing a play-in. So the Rollers and the Lions have a bye to round 2 of the bracket. Also, by the way, it's going to be a 3-day event, not a 2-day event.
So the Friday they have like a play-in. So basically the number 3 all the way to number 8, they're gonna play each other like at least twice. And I don't know what's gonna be the outcome. Probably they're gonna do
that's Saturday the 31st.
Yeah, that's
Saturday. So Saturday they do a play-in.
Yeah,
and then Sunday they do majority of the brackets, but then on Monday is when the championship round actually happens.
Yes, that's correct.
So I'm a little confused. I don't know why they're doing a play-in when you have seating from 3 events already. But okay, anyway, so it almost looks like they're doing a pool play, because you have 3 teams that are playing each other in like 2 separate ones. So like Brewers, Rush, and United are all playing each other. And then the Wolverines, Pronghorns, and the Smash are all playing each other. I'm guessing from those results, we'll decide who goes into like the round 1 setup. And then I guess the winner of those move on to play either the Rollers or the Lions. The winner of that obviously and then the winner of those play in the semis. The winner of that goes on to the championship and waits for the rest of the bracket to be completed. So I'm wondering if the 2 lowest placed teams in each of those 2 pools automatically go to the B side and have to play.
Play the backdoor right away.
I think. I don't know. Maybe this is to get all the teams more games because they're flying players around. But I figured the season was what decided the seeding.
Man, this is going to change a bit. But take look at it. If you're the 2 team, let's say you're the 2 team that lost, like the last understanding from your playoff play-in, you're not going to start your next match all the way to 4:00 on that Sunday, which is super annoying.
Yeah, right. So I'm not 100% sure how that plan is going to work. So yeah, so if you guys were listening, you can disregard the bracket that we had
Yeah,
written up
this
because
does not.
I was going off of what happened last year
Mhm.
with that. So
Apparently, they're not doing that.
looking at the CNPL website now because it got updated. Yeah, so yeah, on August 31st, we have a play-in. And like we said, so Brewers, Rush, and Toronto United are a 3-team pool. Wolverines, Pronghorns, and the Smash are the other 3-team pool. And then you have, and like we said, the Rollers and the Lions get a bye, and they're on opposite sides of the bracket.
Mm-hmm. So
So round one of the bracket is on September 1st. So on the 31st on the Saturday, it's just the play-in games.
Mm-hmm. Who you think about coming on top on the playoff then?
Oof.
Does
Well,
it the other thing is, does it
that
matter?
changes stuff now, and it's interesting how they came up with those 3.
And the other thing is, does it matter anymore? Like I think I have a feeling as long as you're not the dead last from your 3
Yeah.
pool, you're fine. It's like,
Yeah, basically get at least one win, right?
exactly. If you get one win, let's say you get one win before the dream breaker, you're good. You can just rest your starters basically, right?
Yeah.
That's how a feeling is. So as long as you win your first match, you can chill out. You don't even actually need to work.
Yeah, because I'm guessing what's going to happen is the bottom team in each pool will automatically go to the B side of the bracket, and then they wait to play the losers of the round 1. The winners will go on and play either the Rollers or the Lions. The winners of those games move on to the semifinals.
Yep.
And then at the usual A and B side of the bracket then continues from there. So I guess, yeah, coming in first and second gives you a bye. So the other teams are playing at least 3 games before they play you. So you can look at that 2 ways. Either you're fresh and they're tired, or they're coming in riding a hot streak.
Yeah.
Right. So that's going to be interesting regardless. I'm going to have to change my hotel booking now and see also if I can get September 2nd off, because I was just expecting it to be a 2-day event.
No, it's a 3-day event. So
okay, 3-day event. Interesting. Okay.
Everything start at 10, and on Monday they finish at 1-ish if there is no tiebreaker.
Yeah, well, no, the championship starts
probably 2
at 1. So probably 2:30 if there's a tiebreaker for the double.
Maybe
so they're doing a double elimination. That means too then.
Yeah, if there's a tiebreaker, it means there's a double elimination. Yep.
Cool. All right. So yeah, so we'll throw that as the caveat. I'm gonna stick this right after we talked about the bracket. That way it kind of fits in. Sorry, everyone, that you just listened to us ramble about awesome potential matchups.
Then also,
because now we're not even. So yeah, like United's not even playing the Wolverines. They might not even play them at all technically. So that
they playing the Rush and the Brewers only.
Yeah, right. So in the pool play, so that matchup might not even happen. We were talking about Brewers. We were talking about Brewers versus Smash. That matchup might not even happen.
Nope.
Pronghorn. We were talking about Pronghorns versus Lions. That might not even happen.
Nope.
And then we were talking about Rush versus Rollers as the possible rematch of last year. So that might not even happen now. So okay.
A while maybe before it happens.
So you listen to us ramble about something that's not going to happen for a good 40 minutes, but
ouch.
But so we'll throw this in right now, and but we're still super excited. I got to adjust my my schedule now really quickly, so I'm going to be going on the phone right after we get off here. All right, so to finish off, we have season end awards for the CNPL. Now we're not awarding anything today, but I'm going to list off what the awards are. I've added a few from last year because obviously we couldn't do things like Rookie of the Year last year because everyone was a rookie.
Yeah.
I'm also going to toss out this idea. Now, this will depend solely on fan engagement and seeing how me and Victor are going to be at championship weekend. I'm suggesting we walk around and talk to fans. 2 fan votes I would love to get would be most underrated player and your most favorite player.
Thanks.
So if you're listening to this podcast and you're going to be at championship weekend, me and Vic will kind of walk around. Now, that's obviously if we're not commenting. We still don't know if we are or not. But obviously, in between games, come up to us if you're listening to the podcast and say who your favorite player is and also who you think is the most underrated player. I'd love to be able to do a fan vote for that one. Now, for the regular awards, so MVP. Now, the only requirements I'm putting on this, Victor, is that the person has to have played in every event.
Gotcha.
So, so this is kind of taking from the NBA, where the NBA is like you have to play a minimum of X amount of games because of how much they sit out, which still drives me nuts. This is why I don't. Aside from I don't live anywhere where an NBA game gets played, but I wouldn't pay money if I'm not sure the player I want to see is going to be playing.
True.
You know what I mean? But so last year's MVP obviously was Hannah Blatt from Toronto United. So obviously she's not going to win this year because she's not playing this year.
She's not even here.
Right. So MVP. So most valuable player. This is the most valuable player to you can interpret this any way you want. Some people say it's the most valuable player in the league, most valuable player to their team. I'm going to kind of let that be kind of your decision on who you pick, Vic. And then Vic, do you want to do where we both pick one, or we have our nominees and then we kind of discuss back and forth and we try to convince each other?
I think we have to convince each other. It'll be fun.
Okay, good. So we'll have a nice debate then for championship weekend one. Then we have Rookie of the Year. Of course, we didn't have one last year because everyone was a rookie.
Exactly.
I have a feeling me and Vic might land on the same person for this one, but because there's a couple good candidates, but one clearly stands out. Then we're also another new one this year is the most improved player. So the only requirement for this one is they have to have played last season. Right. So going off their performance from last season to this season, who is the most improved player? One of my personal favorites, steal of the draft. Last year, I gave this to Matt Quanamoto. Now the stipulation I'm putting into this one, they have to have been picked in the 4th round or higher. So it can't have been in the first 3 picks, because those are those that we consider top picks, right? So 4th round or later is when they had to have been picked.
I think who are gonna be saying. I know.
I'm kind of balancing between like 2 or 3 people right now. It's a little. I'm on the fence with a couple on this one. The other one
I have one like locked in. I know.
Locked into your mind already. Sweet.
Yeah.
Then we have
a little tough though, because I haven't watched enough the first season, so that's the one that's gonna be a rough run for me.
Yeah. Oh, the most improved one is going to be a little rough.
Yeah, it might be a little bit rough for me. I was like,
that one for me, I have 2 people in mind, but I need to go back and double check some footage a little bit. Also depends on how well this weekend goes, right?
Yeah.
The next one, which is a returning from last year, I called this one the Out of Nowhere or the Fred VanVleet Award. This, of course, was when Fred VanVleet was playing on the Toronto Raptors. This is like the undrafted or a player who was the alternate to start, but then basically became an instrumental part of the team's success. Last year, I gave this to Carolina Hack because if you don't remember, she was not picked. She was an undrafted player who then got picked as like an alternate for the Toronto United and then won the starting spot out and then became instrumental in Toronto United winning last year. Right? So that's the stipulation for that, is that they weren't like in the first event, they clearly were not going to be the starter. They were going to be the alternate, but then since that, they've moved up and they've become basically irreplaceable on the team. Then we have Offensive Player of the Year. Last year, I gave that to Joel Pelletier. Defensive Player of the Year, I gave that to Brad Chapman last year. And then I picked an outstanding player for each split. So last year, for the East, I picked Jeff Elwood. That was like Jeff Elwood's coming out party last year. And then for the West split last year, I picked Nathan Choi. This year, of course, we have the Central split, so we got 3 people we can pick for this. So once again, we'll have to go back and double check who who was kind of like the story, who was like the story, like the one coming out where like you were the most impressed with. I kind of have mine already for the was it the Central first or the East first? I can't remember now.
East the first.
East was first. I have kind of mine already for the East. The other two, the West one, I kind of have an idea already for my West one. The Central one is the one I have to go back and kind of double check.
Central one's a little rough. I don't know why. It's just
the Central one was
there's a couple of
most even one. That was the one where everyone kind of beat everybody.
Exactly. Like,
so like it was hard because
like special like big up and down. Like,
yeah, right. So, but it was that was the thing. It was the games were so good, but to the point where everyone was so good that nobody like insanely stood out. You know what I mean? Like, which is a good problem to have for a league.
True.
But it's tough when you're technically picking just this award.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah. So to recap, we got MVP, Rookie of the Year, Most Improved Player, the Steal of the Draft, the Fred VanVleet or the Out of Nowhere Award, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and then the Most Outstanding Player for each split. And then we're going to try and get those fan votes going for the Most Underrated Player and the Fan Favorite.
Fan's favorite. That'll be fun.
So that depends all on you guys who are listening. If we see you at Championship Weekend, come up to us and tell us your two picks for Fan Favorite and Most Underrated Player this year.
Definitely come to us. I think we're not difficult to miss, I guess.
No, yeah, I'll be wearing what I'm wearing right now in this video. If you're watching online, I'll have my black Anivia hat on. I'll have my Anivia shirt on. I'll probably sweat through it the first day, so I'll probably wear my white one for the second day.
I'll just bring all my paddles.
There we go. Paddles, yeah, exactly. But yeah, feel free to come say hi to us, and if you're willing to do a video with us where you actually name your two players, I'll include that in the final like makeup. I'll do like a montage of everyone picking their players. If you're okay with that, if you don't want to be on camera, just let us know, and you can just verbally tell us. We're totally cool with that. Not everyone likes being on camera, so
no problem with us.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so I think that's it for this one. I'm super excited for Championship Weekend this coming Labor Day weekend. I will see you there, Vic. Hopefully we see a bunch of you guys there. This is going to be awesome. Like we were saying, great matchups all through that first round. It's if you can't make it, tune in. I think CBC is hosting it again. Nice. Tune into CBC Sports and watch this because this is going to be awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Especially now, while we're gonna have on a really Pickleball dedicated venue also. It's gonna be amazing venue at the Edmonton Pickleball Center. So it's definitely fun. It's not gonna be like in a toss-up conference center or in anything. So it's gonna be a real experience and enjoyment for all of us.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe we get a special feature of Sean's dueling piano group again.
Yeah, that's true. He's over there, so you never know.
Over there. Sweet. All right. Thanks again, Vic. Thank you, everyone, for listening and watching, and we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. See you all next time.